Hey Hog fans, welcome back to another episode of Recalling Those Hogs. I'm Haley Kate Webb, and I'm here today with former Razorback football player Jeb Huckeba. Jeb, thank you so much for joining me today.
Haley, I'm really excited to get to be on the call with you today.
I'm super glad that you're here. I want to start off by talking a little bit about your recruitment and journey to Arkansas. So, you're a Searcy, Arkansas native, went to Harding Academy, and your dad was a longtime head coach at Harding University. So, talk to me a little bit about the decision to come to Arkansas instead of staying in Searcy and playing at Harding for your dad.
Wow, what a great question. That was such a fun time in my life, Haley. And, from the time I was 7 years old, I stood on the sideline with my dad's team, the Harding Bisons, and all I could ever imagine was playing for the Bisons in college. However, after my junior season in football, my dad had put together a highlight film that he sent to 5 other Division I schools. Well, after that film went out, I got my first offer from the University of Virginia. And once they offered me, several other schools came on board, and that really changed the way I was looking at my college opportunities. So I had the chance to take 3 official visits. Went to University of Nebraska, I went to Florida State University, and then went to the University of Arkansas. Now, I didn't take an official visit to Harding because I had grown up there my whole life. However, I was still considering them in the recruitment process. When it came time to make a decision, through a lot of prayer and through discussions with my parents, and then I was kind of set on going to Florida State. I really liked Coach Bobby Bowden and the way he ran his program, and he and his staff came to my house in Searcy. And after they came, I was pretty convinced that I wanted to be a Seminole. However, there was an ice storm in Searcy that made some travel plans change, specifically for the Razorback coaching staff. Coach Nutt and his staff were supposed to come after Florida State's coaching staff had come, like within 2 weeks. Well, the ice storm happened, and that delayed the Razorback coach's visit for about a month. So I had more time to talk and pray. And as I evaluated the decision to play in my home state, to play in the conference like the SEC, but also I felt like as a Christ follower that by being at the University of Arkansas, I would have a platform to share my faith, to use the influence God had given me to share hope with others that we know from the Bible. And so by God's grace and just by a lot of support from my parents, I made the decision to become a Razorback, and I enrolled there as a freshman in the fall of 2001.
Wow, that's a great story. So were you a Hog fan growing up?
I would say I liked the Hogs, but really I was a Bison fan, and that's what I really lived and died with, the Harding Bisons. And so the Razorbacks were not that big of a deal to me, but I didn't really realize how important they were to our whole state until I was older and able to realize that there were other teams besides the Harding Bisons in the state of Arkansas. And I had gotten to go to a few games growing up, one with my uncle who lives in Little Rock, and then, of course, the visits that I took. And Coach Nutt and his staff, man, they really created a fun environment. I felt like I just felt welcomed. I felt like I was going to thrive, and getting to play in my home state was very special to me. So those were all important as I thought about that decision.
Great. Well, I've heard that you were a dominant multisport athlete in high school with track and basketball and football. So was there ever a time where you thought about doing a different sport or multiple sports in college, or was it always football all the way?
Well, I would say in college, I definitely was only going to play football. I truly did enjoy playing all those sports at Harding Academy, it made the experience one that I just have great memories from. In fact, one day I played in a golf tournament in the morning and then ran in a track meet that afternoon. And so that was pretty unique sport experience. Now, one of my teammates, Matt Jones at Arkansas, he actually did play two sports, playing football and basketball for the Razorbacks, and he looked really good doing both.
Is there a memory that stands out to you as a favorite from your time as a Razorback?
There's a couple games that were just incredible to be a part of. I'm going to say a few of them, but then I'll tell a little bit more detail on my favorite.
Okay.
My freshman year, we beat Ole Miss in 7 overtimes. I didn't play very much, but that was a special moment. My sophomore year, we beat LSU in Little Rock and went to the SEC championship. But my junior year, I was a part of a team that we weren't even ranked. We had won a non-conference game, our first game. Then we traveled down to Austin, Texas to play the number 4 team in the nation, the Texas Longhorns. And we played them at an 11 o'clock a.m. game. And we truly felt like for us that was the biggest game on our schedule that year. And I don't believe that Texas was approaching it the same way. And from the talks that our coaches gave us the night before the game to the way we, showed up with a business type mentality on game day, I just don't think we were going to leave out of there, without a win. And so we upset them in Austin, and it was very special. We came together as a team, and just from offense and defense and special teams all around. Matt Jones had a great game. Cedric Cobbs played incredible, and I got to be a part of a defensive play that was pretty unique. They were driving in the fourth quarter, and their quarterback, he kept the ball and ran at me and he was running the option. And so at first I kind of acted like I was going to take him and tackle him, and then I jumped out right as he pitched it, and I tipped the pitch on the option, and we recovered the fumble, and that helped seal the victory for our team. And so to be a part of a play like that in such an important game was just special, and I was just thankful to get to be a part of it.
You mentioned LSU and Texas, and so who in the early 2000s was like the rival for the Razorbacks, or that team that you just hated to play, or I guess loved to play as a rival?
Yeah. Well, Nick Saban was the head coach at LSU, and we had the Boot Trophy, which is, I'm sure you're familiar, but it's that big golden trophy that connects the states of Arkansas to Louisiana.
Right.
And so when we beat them my sophomore year, that definitely felt like we had beat our rival. I think we played Texas my junior and senior year. For those 2 years, they felt like a rival. Ole Miss was always a game that we felt really strongly about, but I would have to say LSU was probably our rival.
Still stands the same. Still got to get that boot back.
That's exactly right.
As your time as a Razorback player and a Razorback fan, you've certainly seen lots of different defenses and different coordinators. So what are you looking forward to / your hopes for this year with this defense and Barry Odom?
Well, I just admire his work ethic, and I feel like we have an incredible coach who's been a head coach in the SEC, and now he's our defensive coordinator. I got to meet Coach Odom at a coaching clinic that I was speaking at for FCA in January, and he was just very personable to the high school coaches that were there, and appreciated his personal interaction. And so, I believe he has what it takes to build one of the best defenses in the country. And I think Arkansas is a great place to do it. And so I'm excited about our defense moving forward with Coach Odom.
Awesome. I'm excited too, hoping that we get to have a season.
That's right. Me too.
Yes. You mentioned FCA, and I know that you personally are a mentor and a leader and an inspiration for so many student athletes. So what advice would you have for current college student athletes to use the stages that they have to inspire and lead the younger up-and-coming athletes?
Well, I would say the number one thing is realize that this opportunity is short. In Ephesians chapter 5, verses 15 through 16, it tells us to make the most of every opportunity because the days are evil. And with that in mind, any opportunity that a student athlete would have to share their faith or to serve, to maybe even to take a mission trip. I got to do that a couple years in college, and it really changed my perspective. And to be intentional about reaching out to younger student athletes. Oftentimes we don't realize how much we're looked up to by others because they may not say it or they may feel uncomfortable or embarrassed to let us know that. But our influence as athletes really can stay with those who look up to us and can impact their decisions. So you just never know what an example of someone who is reading the Bible or sharing their faith, speaking about a verse that's impacted their athletic career. All of these things can bring people to faith in Christ or encourage those who already have faith in Christ.
Right, absolutely. So much truth in that. Before I let you go, tell me a little bit about what you and your family are doing now, what y'all are looking forward to, and plans for the future.
Well, thank you, Haley. We're just taking it one day at a time right now this summer. I am involved, obviously, with FCA ministry. This morning I got to, my son and I got to go out to my parents' house. They have land, and then they have access to Osage Creek. And so I met a coach from Fayetteville High School out there, and we did some fishing this morning in just a beautiful setting. My son is playing baseball. He played his second game last night. He's getting to do some pitching, and he's proud to get to experience sports even at a young age. My daughters, they both enjoy gymnastics and singing, and so we try to keep it pretty fun around the house. My wife is also on staff with FCA. She's an admin assistant, but she encourages me so much. I often look back on things that God does in our ministry, and so many of them are from her ideas that she's prompted me about. And so, we're just kind of contemplating and thinking through what our school year is going to look like with our children, this fall, and praying for all those who are sick, and just, wanting to stay healthy ourselves and spend as much time outdoors. We like biking. There's so many trails in Northwest Arkansas, and now that everyone can ride without training wheels, we feel pretty excited about that.
That's great. Thank you again so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. And
it's been a pleasure. Thank you for asking great questions. I enjoy talking about my time as a Razorback football player. And again, all glory to the Lord, and thank Him for giving me the opportunities He has.
Yes, sir. Well, that's really all I have for you. Once again, I'm Haley Kate Webb with Jeb Huckeba, and this has been Recalling Those Hogs.